Previously on Ballz.
Top odds now. Top odds. Topodds.com. www.topodds.com. On Twitter @topoddscompare. They're a sports betting company, but they bring together all the sports bets you can get in South Africa. He's got the MTN8 final up on www.topodds.com, but we don't have the odds up there. But we will talk to Brandon about that. We'll also talk to Brandon about some rugby game that they were waffling on about, and also about some of the English games. I think it's Chelsea Spurs this weekend, isn't it? I'm just going to get those fixtures up. We're getting hold of Brandon now. I've just spoken to Brandon on the phone. Brandon, how you doing, mate?
Yes, how's it, Neil? How are you?
Yeah, mate, I'm great. As I said to you earlier, I've spoken to Alan Freese, the Platinum Stars boss, today. I haven't spoken to Roger Dessar today, but the big game for South Africans that might want to participate on www.topodds.com is the MTN8 final on Saturday at Mozambique, 8:15. Tickets available on CompuTicket, and I think it'll be quite an interesting game, Brandon. Obviously, giant David and Goliath clash.
Oh, no, most definitely. I mean, the Pirates have had a very, very tough week. Platinum Stars might have a shot. The betting's not out yet. I think the bookies want to see how the different sides, how everyone pulled up after their semi-finals. But Pirates have had a tough week, and if I was Platinum Stars, I'll be sitting there and saying, if there's ever a time to pull one over the Buccaneers, it's this weekend.
Yeah, the level of pressure that's been on Roger Dessar and Orlando Pirates. I think Roger was saying that he went home on Wednesday and his dog didn't recognise him. It's been so long since he was at home. And he's given them days off this week. Not the best preparation for a cup final, to play a huge semi-final against Kaizer Chiefs on the Tuesday, following last Saturday's huge game against Al Ahly, the African champions. Orlando Pirates now firmly into the last four of the African Champions League and into the final of the MTN8. But quietly, and I'm only going to whisper this because the Buccaneers are going to kill me for this, both of those games they drew. Everyone's talking about what a great week it's been. Comfort Keswa opposite me, my producer, nodding, Orlando Pirates fan. Actually, they drew both those games. Actually, Lennox Bekele, who I thought was going to be a revelation this season, isn't scoring the goals I was hoping he would. I think that Kermit Erasmus is playing very well. I think that having Sia Sangweni back has helped them at the back, despite having a massive cut over his eye and playing in a bandage. It's going to be tough. And Alan Freese, for all, as I say, people on Twitter saying Alan, might not sound like the best manager in the world, but he is actually a very sharp football coach and has been involved in South African football for ages. And he says he knows they're the underdogs. He knows he's hoping the neutrals might shout from at Moses Mabhida, where they'll have 2,000 fans. But we don't have odds yet, but we will get them, and they will appear on www.topodds.com, and people will be able to look. Andila Jali today, the one bit I've got for you, Brandon. Andila Jali, whose shoulder popped in the Al Ahly game, then in a sling. Before the Al Ahly game, he was in a sling, and then he was seen throwing his young child around, wasn't he, during the game, and his shoulder doesn't look as painful as he thought it was. He's having a second opinion today. If Charlie plays, that might make a big difference.
Well, my take on this final is that, I I think it was you guys in the studio that built Wits to be title contenders this season, and Platinum Stars did it fairly comfortably against them. It was Wits that they played, if I'm not.
Yeah, no, mate.
I think they definitely deserve to be in the final. I think we say Pirates haven't been impressive. I mean, they've drawn their last two games leading up to this, but they've done enough to be there. So, it's going to be an absolute cracker. I hope that there are. I'm sure there will be more Pirates fans in the stadium than Platinum Stars fans, and it's going to be one hell of a game. Can Pirates get up for it? Maybe they need need a little bit of help in this game to score some goals. I'm not too sure.
Absolutely. What's so ironic is that Pirates, having created quite a lot in the second half and hit the bar, their best chances seem to come from set plays, with Sia Sangweni and Roy Mahamut are very dominant in the air. The on-form striker for me in this country at the moment is a lad called Robert Ngambi. He's a Malawian. He's got an apostrophe in the middle of his surname somewhere, and he had two chances against Wits in the second leg, and he scored them both. He's a bloke that sticks the ball in the back of the net, and I was scared to speak to Gavin Hunt today because he was all lined up to kind of come roaring back from 4-2 down in the first leg and sneak it, and when And they didn't. I mean, Robert Ngambi did for them. He had 2 chances, he scored 2 goals, and they won both legs.
Yeah, most definitely. I think Platinum Stars, you can't write them off. I thought Wits would beat them over 2 legs. I really did. And that just didn't happen. I mean, they stuck it out, and they've earned their place. And I think Pirates are going to be in for a tough game.
Yeah.
And they'd be lucky to get away with it, in 90 minutes.
Absolutely agreed, mate. Okay, let's move on to England, where we've had Capital One Cup action this week. Manchester United beating Liverpool with a little P goal from Hernandez header last night. A 1-0 win with Suarez making his return, and very average penalty win for Arsenal over West Brom. Spurs won. What you got for us in England this weekend?
Well, let's start off with Man United. I don't know if you saw the team sheet last night or watched the game, but that's the kind of side that David Moyes should be putting out on the field. I mean, Nani, Kagawa, Hernandez, the way they played on Sunday against Manchester City was like, I don't know, maybe that was a Mourinho setting up to draw the game, because there was no creativity on that field. And it was a totally different story. I mean, Liverpool made a lot of chances, probably should have scored a lot of the chances, but so did Manchester United. And I think Man United fans would rather lose a game 4-3 than lose like they did on Sunday. They showed a little bit of heart, and I can't believe he's left Nani out of the side for so long. They keep telling me that Kagawa needs to grow into a role. The only way he's going to grow is if you put him on the field and you let him get it, and they're smashed up by the other players. I mean, he's not going to grow sitting on your bench. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
So I was just happy with the side that Moyes put out. And if you want to start off with the Manchester United game, they're playing West Brom.
Yep.
They are at home. I think Moyes will go 2 from 2. He'll win again. Actually, I think that's fairly good odds. Lance Michael, Alan Bookmaker, offering you 7-20. That's just over 3.5 to 10 for Manchester United to win at home against West Brom. West Brom played Arsenal, did they not, last night?
Yes, West Brom at the Hawthorns, 1-1 draw after extra time, and 2 dreadful West Brom penalty misses let Arsenal sneak through, and then they've got Chelsea next. But it's only Capital One Cup. Arsenal didn't have their best side out. Man United did, I think, put out a better side with Kagawa in it.
Yeah, they most definitely did. But I also think this will stretch West Brom a little bit. I think they went outside of the 90 minutes. It was a long, hard game, and then their squad's not as big as the Arsenal and the Manchester United. So I think 7-20 from Alan Bookmaker there is a very, very good price, and I think that we find another side this weekend and take that in the double. I think David Moyes will make it 2 from 2 at home.
Agreed. No, I've got to say it does look that way. Moyes needed that win last night. I think if they'd lost to Liverpool last night in the Capital One Cup, because, I mean, what people maybe in South Africa don't understand is there's a huge antipathy between these two cities. It's like Joburg and Pretoria. There's about the same distance between them. And Manchester and Liverpool have completely different accents if you're a Scouse or a Manc. And they couldn't afford to lose that last night. Very, very important goal from Little P. Hernandez, his header last night. Keeping David Moyes comfortable, and a second win against West Brom, move them up the table a bit, get them up amongst the big sides like Arsenal. That would be useful.
No, most definitely. I don't know if you guys put any money last week on Swansea to beat Valencia. We kind of mentioned them.
Mate, we didn't mention them.
Winners.
Hold on. I went back to topadds.com. I looked at the video that you put up there of our show. And I said quite clearly to you, Valencia will be looking at Swansea and going, well, who's Swansea? They're a side from bloody Wales, like a side from Lesotho. And of course, Swansea had 6 Spanish players in their side and Valencia had 4. So a 3-0 away win at the Mestalla is quite incredible. And we did predict it on Top Odds last week.
Yes, and they were a very, very good price. I put some money on them as well. And just to let the punters know also, we both... agreed on Manchester City beating Manchester United, even though it hurt me terribly to say that. So yeah, we found value. I mean, we must be forgiven now for the Chelsea debacle the week before.
The Chelsea Everton. We didn't think, we weren't sure that would happen. Well, I did say to you, Everton have signed some good players. It was a big win for Everton over Chelsea. And then, like you say, we all had a little look at Manchester City last week. If people look on topadds.com and look at that video we did, it's a bit long, but in the middle of that, you'll hear us backing Swansea against Valencia and Manchester City to beat Manchester United. Both of those came true, but my South African predictions were a Kaizer Chiefs Wits MTN8 final, so don't rely on me. Can we just go to Tottenham-Chelsea?
Yes, we can, definitely. That's one of the bigger games this weekend. It's the early game as well. And, oh, my goodness, I don't think Mourinho, will be sitting there saying, gee whiz, it's the right time for me to face this Tottenham side, who I've been very, very impressed by in the last couple of weeks. I think their signings, they're starting to gel. They're starting to move the ball. A late winner last weekend. I had my money on them, so I was very, very happy with that. But it's going to be a tough, tough game. Tottenham might get a little bit of a lesson in this one. What do you think?
If Jose Mourinho carries on like he is, he's going to find his relationship with Roman Abramovich breaking down again. I was convinced at the start of the season, because of all the changes in managerial staff, that Chelsea would be the big contenders amongst the top three from last season, where you had Pellegrini, Moyes and Mourinho all new back in their jobs. Spurs and Arsenal, more consistency, particularly at Arsenal. It's going to be amongst those five. I don't see Liverpool breaking into it. I honestly think Spurs at White Hart Lane will beat Chelsea this weekend and put Mourinho under serious pressure.
I have to agree with you. I've been impressed with the Spurs side. They're lovely to watch. I mean, they were relentless at the weekend, and they really, really passed the ball around. They should have won that game 4-5-0. I mean, he brought on changes Lamela came on and he changed the game, and I just think they spent the money that they received from Ballz very, very well. And if not this season, next season he's going to have a cracker side, and they're all young. So yeah, I'd be with Tottenham. I think World Sports Betting offering 16-10 for Tottenham to win at home. It's a very, very good price for a side at home in the Premier League, especially the way Tottenham have been playing. And yeah, they might just put one over Mourinho and put further stress on that Abramovich relationship.
Yeah, mate, absolutely. The sad thing is that I can't believe that you and I are sitting here backing Spurs to beat Chelsea. It just goes against the grain for me as an Arsenal fan, but I think that's how it looks. I mean, I think that Villas-Boas has settled again. It's still further this season, and I really can't see Chelsea pulling something out. I think that Jose Mourinho doesn't know what to do with that great midfield he's got. He's got all those lads in that midfield, but Frank Lampard's the only one he really knows. They're all brought in, your Mata, your Hazard, your Brazilian lads, Oscar, Ramirez. It's a great midfield, but he doesn't seem to know what to do with an attacking midfield. He much prefers to have guys that track back, defensive midfielders, and he doesn't. I don't think he has the key to unlock Tottenham Hotspur on Saturday. So let's see. Isn't it Arsenal with Swansea Arsenal this week? Swansea on the back of what they did against Valencia, against Arsenal. How do you see that one?
Oh, well, this is also a very, very big game. Swansea starting to show that form that they were in last season. I mean, they were never an easy 3 points. They were never an easy 1 point last season. I mean, you had to work for everything that you got from them. Laudrup's getting them, back up to that form. Betting World offering 12-10 Arsenal to beat Swansea. Arsenal are away. Swansea's got to be on a high. I mean, to go to Valencia, to go to the Messiah, and to win 3-0. I mean, it's no small feat. Although Valencia did have 10 men in that game. We mustn't forget to mention that. The way Arsenal have been playing, I have to take the 13-10 and 12-10 Arsenal. Alan Bookmaker offering 13-10. World Sports Betting a little bit shorter, 5-4. Betting World offering 12-10. I think Arsenal, they should win this weekend. They've been impressive. They were impressive in the Champions League. They weren't as impressive last night, but like you said, it wasn't their first side. I think Arsenal just about win it.
Yeah. Well, I'm counting on Arsenal staying top for as long as possible. I keep on putting out bizarre Twitters about how they're going to win everything. As long as they're on top, it feels good. Listen, can we quickly talk about rugby? Didn't you want to have a quick chat about that game where they play it with that funny-shaped ball? What are we going to do there?
Yes, most definitely. Well, as you all know, it's South Africa, Australia this weekend. And
I don't think it is, isn't it? New Zealand.
It's not this weekend.
It's Australia. Yeah, no, I'm just going there now. I'm just looking at but I can't open them. Go on, carry on. Sorry, Brandon.
No problem. So South Africa versus Australia. The betting should be up. I'm not sure why it's not.
I can't get to open.
Now you'll see it.
I'm trying. Okay, go.
So South Africa versus Australia this weekend. It's going to be a massive, massive game. The Aussies, I don't think they can get much worse than they were. I don't think they can get much worse than beating Argentina at home by 1 point. It's going to be a massive Australia. Game. I think they're showing Australia a lot of respect. Yeah. Opening the spread up at plus 12.5. You can get with Betting World plus 12.5 Australia, minus 12.5 South Africa. The same spread with World Sports Betting. Lance Michael showing a little bit more respect to Australia, going they're giving letting Australia at plus 11.5. Just to explain to the punters what that means is that you can back Australia to start the game with 11 points up, and South Africa need to beat them by 12 points at the final whistle for you guys to lose on that bet. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know how many pro-Australians there are in the betting this weekend. I think everyone's going to be in South Africa. I think they'll win the game. They'll win it comfortably. Whether they beat the spread, there's always that intercept trial with a big spread like this, that knocks you out of your bet. But, yeah, I'm not sure, guys. I'm not sure what you guys think in terms of this game, but I think South Africa to win well.
I hope they do win, because we want that last game at Ellis Park against New Zealand to be the one that matters, don't we?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. No, they will win.
Yeah.
I think everyone's looking at next weekend. Next weekend's that's the game of all games. I think New Zealand. They're not looking forward to coming here. I think even if they win the game, they're going to go home bumped and bruised. I mean, they dropped like flies in the first game in New Zealand. I mean, every stoppage in play, there was a New Zealander down getting treatment. So I think Mark's going to inflict a few injuries when they come over here. And I think we can just about win it in South Africa. But yeah, first things first, beat Australia on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, and given that we're playing Australia, the Jake White question, I don't know if you guys actually do odds on where Jake White, having left, it's Canberra, isn't it, the Brumbies, quite quickly this week, the obvious assumption that he's coming to South Africa. He's in South Africa at the moment, as I understand it, before this test match. And where's Jake White going to go? I mean, Sharks, Lions, Stormers?
We know. I mean, it's no secret he was interested in the Wallaby job. They overlooked him. Kind of told him, "You're South African, go back home." And he's done that. It's a massive loss for the Brumbies. I mean, he took that young side to a Super 15 final. And it's only going to be good for South African rugby for him to be back. I mean, if he goes off to the Sharks, I don't think he'll go to the Lions personally. Although he is an old Jeppy boy and it's in his old stomping ground, I think he'll be looking more Sharks if he does coach any side. They're just a bigger franchise, and then I think the Sharks will be a force to be reckoned with. They'll start playing that Jake White rugby that he's known for. And so it was just a shock to me that all of a sudden it was an overnight thing. There were no rumours, were there, in the papers that he was leaving?
Yeah, no, there was nothing. It happened. I think it started on Tuesday when we were all talking Heritage Day. Suddenly Jake White had left, was gone, and he was already in Cape Town by then. That's what interested me, and I just wondered if it was Stormers at that point. And again, people saying to me that the Mickey Arthur thing over the Australian cricket coaching situation, where he said that he was discriminated against, actually counted against Jake White getting the Australian Wallabies job in rugby. It's very, very weird. But yeah, very strong links between John Smith at the new CEO at the Sharks and Jake White. Very interesting. Thank you, Brandon. Brilliant stuff. And let's hope that people look at Top Odds. Topods.com. The video that we put up there has this conversation between Brandon and I. Last week we got Swansea to beat Valencia, we got Manchester City to beat Man United. Keep a close eye on what we're saying.
No, perfect. Just remember that all the games are offered in play, live odds on the front page. So keep it open at topods.com when you guys are watching the games.
Yeah, brilliant, mate. Thanks, Brandon. As always, Top Odds for people that back bollocks.
This is Ballz Visual Radio.